What's up, guys? It's me, Straw Hat Nate, and I'm back this week with a spring 2025 anime review. This season has been just as stacked as any other anime season, with heavy hitters across many different genres. I enjoyed watching some of the new stuff that came out this season, along with all the sequels to the shows that I already loved. So, we'll be forming a ranking of all of these shows that I watched in this season, spring 2025, new shows and sequels alike. Remember that these are all just simply my opinion, and if you disagree with them, I encourage you to comment your opinions below. Now, let's get started, going from the most popular to the least popular show, after you like the video and subscribe to the channel. First off, the most popular show of the season, Fire Force Season 3. With this season, there were many mixed reviews online from what I have seen, mainly because it's a 12-episode run that is filled with a lot of build-up for the later episodes. This is the beginning of the final season of Fire Force, so it's a lot of setting up for later on. And some people were mostly bored by that, but not me personally. I was actually a huge fan of the mystery intrigue of the scenes in St. Raphael's Church and with the evangelists, because the mystery elements keep me wanting more. And even though there's a lot of world building this season, there's still a large conflict that happens right in the middle of the season for people who want fighting, with the Obi rescue arc, and I love this arc personally. Side characters like Tamaki and Arthur were given their chances to shine in this arc, and that was super cool to see. And the animation, at least during the fight scenes, is on par with anything Fire Force has put out, so it's always a spectacle to look at. And I enjoyed this season heavily, so I'll give it an A tier to start out the ranking. Now I'll go over another sequel, actually continuing on from last season, Apothecary Diaries Season 2, Core 2. For those who are unfamiliar with the show, it follows a girl named Mao Mao, an apothecary, as she works to solve the problems around the Emperor's Palace. Overall, it's an emotionally complex show known for its character development and stuff like that, and I personally really enjoyed it, especially Season 1. The second half of this season continues the trend of being a solid show overall, and I would say it's definitely better than the first half because more vital character moments happen for the main character Mao Mao, like her getting kidnapped by the antagonist Shenmei. Apothecary Diaries Season 2, Core 2 is better than Core 1, but I still don't find it to be as good as Season 1 of the show. In the end, I'll give it a B tier on my ranking. Next up, we have a brand new show, Lazarus, a work from the famous director Shinichiro Watanabe. Like any other work from that man, such as Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, this show has a distinct artistic flair. That artistic flair stems from the jazzy music and the crazy fight choreography that really carries this show. To give a brief synopsis first, Lazarus is about a doctor, Dr. Skinner, who made a miracle painkiller called Hapna. But this drug Hapna ends up killing you after a few years, so Dr. Skinner goes into hiding from the world. And that spurs the main group, Lazarus, to be tasked with trying to find Dr. Skinner. And Lazarus includes the main character, Axel. My issue is that this end of the world tension that they try to sell is really taking a back seat to the antics of the main group, Lazarus, who can't seem to ever make any progress towards finding the doctor in all of the episodes that I've watched. Maybe I'll be surprised in the end because the show isn't finished just yet at the time of recording, but the plot of Lazarus is just lacking completeness in my eyes, and I don't think that can be solved with its conclusion. I'm still gonna give the show Lazarus a B tier because the fight scenes were amazing and they kept me entertained. Next up, we have another sequel, Windbreaker Season 2. I kind of liked Season 1 solely due to all of the fights because the fight choreography in this show as well is brilliant. This season doesn't follow up too well in my eyes. There is way less fighting in this season outside of like the first episode or two, and there's not enough good character building or comedy at least to make up for the lack of fights. The one episode that deals with Tsubaki and his backstory with that cute old couple was a perfect emotional episode that was the best episode of this season, and it really built out his character. But we got nothing from the main characters that really matter and that I really wanted to see. Sakura, the main character, only really does something important near the end where he has to protect Shizuka. But overall, I'd have to call this season mid because I expected more. So I'll give Windbreaker Season 2 a C tier, even though I wish I could have given it a higher ranking. Now we have a new personal favorite of mine, Witchwatch. I started this show because of the opening, Watch Me, by Yoasobi, and that opening has to be opening of the year so far, but I fell in love with the show anyway, not just the opening. This show is a slice of life comedy surrounding Nico, who is a witch, and she tries to use her witch powers to help out her peers in high school, and this causes a lot of wacky scenarios caused by her powers. And it also follows her roommate and possible romantic interest, Moi, shortened from Morihito, who is just a super cool guy, a super cool character, and he has ogre strength. That's his quirky trait. This show accomplishes the rare feat of actually making me laugh, something that is really rare for anime to do for a multitude of reasons. And it's overall just a very fun show that kept me entertained with every single episode. So I'll give Witchwatch an A tier on my list. But now we have something on the opposite end of the enjoyment spectrum, the beginning of the end, shortened to T-bait by most people online. This show has become infamous because the first couple of episodes are absolutely atrocious to watch. This show has the worst animation of any 2025 show that I've watched by far. And that sucked because there was so much hype for this show going into the season. T-bait is an anime adaptation of one of the biggest webtoons in the entire world, so people were expecting something on par with Solo Leveling, but it was so much worse than what we got from Solo Leveling. The story itself isn't so bad. It follows Arthur, a former king reincarnated into a prodigy child, similar to Mushoku Tensei, but this show unfortunately doesn't come close to how good Mushoku Tensei is. And the animation quality itself is the sole factor of why this show failed. My compliment for the show is that it seemed to get at least a bit better as the episodes went on, but that doesn't excuse starting the show with duds. So I'm gonna have to give T-bait an F tier, which sucks for the franchise overall. Next up, we have the spin-off to My Hero Academia, My Hero Academia Vigilantes, following a group of unlicensed heroes instead of the main hero class. And the main character of this show, Koichi, is a college student who tries to be a hero without attending school and getting your licensing like Deku has to do, which is against the law in the universe, so he is labeled as a vigilante, even though he's trying his best to fight crime. So for some reason, this seemed to have more care put into it by the animators and directors than any season of mainline MHA, which is a blessing for this show, but kind of a shame for the overall franchise. I love that the American comic book art style was implemented in like the opening and some of the scenes, because that really makes the show unique. And it's a very solid expansion to the MHA universe overall. One gripe that I have, which holds it back a little bit, is that there are some weird pervy moments that shouldn't really have happened with characters who are underage, unfortunately, such as Popstep, who is one of the main characters. Because of those flaws that I mentioned, MHA Vigilantes will have to drop a little bit, but I'll still give it a B tier, so it's still a solid show overall. Finally, the last show I will discuss and rank is Go-Go Loser Rangers Season 2. This show kind of disappointed me with the first season due to plot holes and just boredom. This season finds its footing, unlike the first season sometimes, but it sometimes doesn't. To give a quick summary, Go-Go Loser Ranger follows a weak fighter whose whole identity is just to lose to the corrupt Power Rangers as they put on their show for their fans. But the main character, Fighter D, fights against his disadvantageous position in the social hierarchy underneath these corrupt Power Rangers. This show definitely has cool and unique fights, but it seems that the plot is still very messy, something that I also felt from the first season. One thing that it did improve on from the last season though is that I'm usually not bored while watching, thankfully. And a lot of that is due to the really colorful and vibrant scenes that the show has. And the Monster Protection Group was one of the reasons why this show kept me entertained throughout this season. I'll give this season of Go-Go Loser Ranger a C tier, since it's such a cool concept, but it's not completely explored correctly in my eyes. And that's all for the shows that I've watched in this season, Spring 2025. In the end, there were no S tier shows in this season, unlike last season, which had things like Solo Leveling. And that means I'm forced to consider this season a little bit weaker than last season, even though I found most of the shows in this season entertaining. They just didn't go above and beyond. If you didn't notice, I haven't ranked One Piece in this video because that would just be unfair, giving One Piece an S tier every time, especially right now with Kuma's backstory going on in the anime. But anyway, I'll put the final ranking up on screen one more time, and as you can see, it's a very well balanced ranking. And I'm super excited for next season, Summer 2025, which looks like it could be the best season of anime ever. So definitely come back in a few months for my review of that season. Hopefully I'm not disappointed. So if you made it to the end of this video, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to show your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.